Hey, good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. It is 7 a.m. Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful morning out there and getting ready for the day and for the weekend. If you're off this weekend, cool. Enjoy it. If you are working this weekend, enjoy it as well. Because why not? You gotta enjoy as much things as you possibly can, right? So, yesterday was a really good show. I think I felt really good about it. Got some nice feedback on that, so I appreciate anyone listening. Um, and love to hear your feedback, by the way. So you can always message me. You can email me at johnhenrysoto at protonmail.com. You can look me up on social media platforms like Instagram and uh, whatever. Pretty much every platform that is popular, I'm on there. I'm on there as John Henry Soto. You can just research, and I will be there and follow my antics on other platforms. I do a lot of cool things. But today we're going to be talking about some interesting things. We're going to be talking about faith. We're going to be talking about certainty and how do those relate with a person's knowingness, a person's confidence in their ability to make proper decisions based on either something they've studied, um, or a religion, a philosophy. And really, obviously, religion, we've already established that you have to respect the religious beliefs of others. That's, I did a show on that um, earlier. You can look for that. It's called, I think, Respect the Religious Beliefs of Others. I believe that's what it's called. And it's from one of the precepts in the Way to Happiness. By the way, if anybody is interested in this little booklet here, it's hard to see it with the light. The Way to Happiness, a common sense guide to better living. If anybody's interested in a free copy of that, you can just send me an email at johnhenrysoto at protonmail.com, and I will gladly send one out to you free of charge. Just put in the title Way to Happiness booklet. So on here on page 57 is the religious beliefs of others. Respect the religious beliefs of others. And it really is the cornerstone of human relationships. You really, having tolerance into someone's beliefs is extremely important. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't express your own religious beliefs, right? But it certainly does mean that you can't undermine or you can't attack a faith or a belief if it's different than yours. Um, and that's one of the the main foundations of what I'm going to be talking about today. Um, because there's faith and there's certainty, and sometimes people get a little upset when you try to uh, have this conversation, or at least I've experienced people with not too happy with this type of conversation because one thing that I do have in my 26 almost, yeah, 26 years of being in my faith, almost now, no, actually more than half of my life I've been a Scientologist, more than half of my life now. And I've used the precepts in this little tiny booklet here. I've taken the courses, lots of courses. I've done spiritual counseling. I've helped others. I've worked at the church for years. I have many friends there, here in Florida, South Africa, Nashville, across the world, actually. Even Russia. I have friends in Russia, you know, from the church. All over the world, millions and millions of Scientologists all over the world. And due to that, due to all that training and all that studying and all that applying of this, because it's an application, it's not just something that you, and that's why I talk about, prayer, and I believe that prayer does work. I believe that it is a very powerful tool. We call it a postulate, which is a decision that you make and something that you desire, um, but you make a really strong decision based on something that you really want and that you're really working towards, right? Um, the and that to me is where my certainty comes in, because I've done that and I know that that works. That is an absolute thing for me. Um, I also feel that it's important to um, have the ability to look at oneself and see where you need work, right? And that's a skill that not a lot of people really talk about too much, um, because we're in this weird culture right now, right, where we're blaming other people for whatever thing upsets a group of people, right? And this group of people that are getting upset these days are not a large group of people, but they're influencing something. Something is being influenced to keep spewing out the cancel culture and the suppression of religious rights, um, freedoms. All that stuff is being put out there, and it's happening, right? I mean, it's happening, and we see it happening in the news now. People are getting destimulated from it, right? Meaning they don't even see it anymore. They're kind of just, whoa, that's crazy, man. Anyway, I got to get my Starbucks. Eh, you know, and they're not really paying attention. They're not paying attention. It's not really reported correctly. It's not reported. A lot of things aren't reported correctly, right? Um, but when you have certainty in what you're doing and how you're operating and the things that you're applying to your life, you have certainty that they're going to work because you've already done them before, you've tested them out. It's a true thing. Like the precepts in this little tiny booklet. This is actually not a religious book. This particular book. This is more of a common sense guide to better living, put together in 1981. And um, it's just one small, very, very small part of a huge subject, of a huge um, body of work, mapping out a road to freedom. Excuse me. Give me one second. Okay. So, and faith. Faith is having faith. That hope. You hope something is true, right? Now, faith are stronger than others, right? Some people have a lot of faith and they really, really, truly believe, and I respect that, and I love that, and I love religious people. I really do. People that are very into their religion, I really totally respect them and love them, because the conviction and the passion and the certainty that they have in their faith is really what makes them a good person and what makes them want to help others. Um, and I'm not talking about people who are sort of have the church lady uh disease, like, always judging. Well, isn't that special? For those of you who are over a certain age would remember the church lady from Saturday Night Live. But just judging people if they're don't go to church or if they're whatever, that's not religion, right? That's not that's something else. That's your own personal demons that you have to judge others. That's something you have to resolve on your own. But somebody who has a tremendous amount of faith in their religion should be respected, obviously, and they should also be supported. You know, we send our daughter and my son now, who just started school. in the homeschooling program, which is run by an organization called um, oh, I'm drawing a blank. Classical Conversations. That's what it's called. It's called Classical Conversations, and it is a Christian-based homeschooling program that we send our daughter and our son to. And today actually is the day. So I got as soon as I'm done here, I'm running off, getting all the lunches ready, and you go one day a week to this church here. It's not the program. It doesn't belong to the church. It's just they're just using the church as the space because it's a wonderful space actually. And so we bring the kids there. I stay there all day with them. I'm in the classroom with them. I'm one of the helpers of the classroom, and while we go over the material that we're going over, and it is based in Christianity. So um, there's a lot of references to the Bible, and it's wonderful, and I love it, and my kids love it, and they're just really great people there, So having that respect for them and having that, they know my religion, they know, um, you know, I don't know what they know, obviously, because we don't really talk about it much. But I would hope that they would understand that anything that's been posted or written about, or any programs or anything, are just a lot of BS or just disgruntled people. I mean, if you go out in the street, you can find a disgruntled person in pretty much in every religion, right? They're disgruntled about it, whatever it is. Um, and but if you take them and you put them into a little group and you organize them and you film them and you get their stories down, you suddenly have a program. You have a program. If you have a network that's into suppression and posting lies, then you have yourself a good income source. That's for sure. So I would hope that they would take a look at the actual person, me, my wife, my children, and see how we are. And if anybody's interested in asking, obviously they can just always ask us, and I'll explain everything to them. Um, but you never really know what um, what you're facing, right? When it comes to that part of it, because religion has been through centuries and centuries, and has been very, very touchy subject for a lot of people, right? More people have died for religious reasons than anything else in the history of this country, right? You look at the Crusades, the the World Trade Center is considered you know a religious hate crime. um, I mean, Jesus, the Spanish Inquisition. You can just go on and see how many millions of people have died because of religious persecution. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today was because, I wanted to let people know. I think I've made it pretty clear, and I don't really. This show isn't about my religion. It's not about that, but obviously, my life for the last 26 years has been in that religion. So it's the only thing I really know that works, because I've applied it for the last 26 years, and it's given me freedoms that I never thought I had. It's got me out of an environment, because I was living in the South Bronx. I was 24 years old, when I was 24 when I was really searching for religion, or searching for an answer, or searching for something. And a lot of it was wonderful. All the stuff that I read had a lot of things in it, but there was also a lot of restrictions that were put in there, which I thought, why was that packaged in there? Like it didn't, it didn't seem to make some, for me, it didn't seem to work, right? And finally, I did find this religion, and it did provide me. The first year I was there, after a year, I was able to move out of the South Bronx after a year of studying, get an apartment with like it was a huge apartment. I had like four roommates. It was four of us, all girls. It was a good time. um, I'm just kidding, good people, but they were all people from the church, and we all just got an apartment in on the Upper West Side on 85th and right off of Broadway. And we had this 211 West 85th Street was where we lived, and it was a really beat up apartment. It was really burnt. The guy who we had an illegal sublet, which we didn't know at the time, but he sublet us this apartment basically on a sheet of paper. He wrote down some stuff, and we just all signed it, and we were like, "Is this legitimate?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, it's fine." So he left us his apartment, and he went off to California because he had a little bit of a dependency problem. Um, and he left us this apartment, but he had burnt the kitchen down, not down, but he basically burnt the ceiling. Apparently, he was doing some kind of drug like freebasing, which I guess you cook it or something. I've always heard of freebasing. It sounds completely horrific to me, but he apparently burnt down and so we went in there. The kitchen ceiling was black, like this black tar. Um, it was just the whole apartment was just really devastating. So we went in there, me and a couple of the girls, and we just completely cleaned it out. We made it livable, basically, and that's what we that's where we lived as crazy young people in our 20s, trying to figure out. I was playing in a band. I was at the church. I was struggling at times, and other times doing very well financially. And then I started finding a pattern and finding my purpose. And I didn't know a lot of this at the time. I know it now, but during that whole journey, I remember every year I was doing a little bit better, even though it didn't feel that way to me. If you go back and you look at even my tax records, you can see that every year I started doing a little financially a little bit better. Now things changed a little bit when I got married. No fault of my wife, but I did marry into her family that I felt I was a little bit judged because of my lifestyle, because of my religion, because of a lot of things. And they said some things to my wife, which she, of course, told me, which was fine. But they were upsetting, and they're not exactly the most. They don't really communicate much about true feelings. It's a very sheltered. I'm Puerto Rican, right? So my brother, my sisters, and my mom and my grandparents, if there was a problem, we're gonna talk about it, no matter what it is. And they may be yelling, but there's a lot of hugs and laughing and a lot of music and food. So I married into something that was just not real to me. Very nice people, nothing against them, but it was just a little bit different how they communicate with one another in comparison to how I communicated with my family and even with my wife. So my financial status I tried to adjust to be something to impress or to get approval from a group of people that I don't really know that well. I don't know why I did that, but mistakes are made. And I was able to somehow cut my income down and and not do as well and then struggle actually. I started struggling. It was 2000 and 2003, 2004. I was doing well. I got married 2003. 2004 I was doing well. 2005 I did well. I found a really great job and I was working at 2000. Well, I was working. It was a good job, but there was a lot of jerks that I was working with there. No longer there. It was a health club called Club H, run by completely irresponsible and people. I was shocked actually. I even confronted the owner once on it and said, "Listen, what's going on with this?" And he just like, I don't really want to get into it. It seems personal. So I remember experiencing strange things at work, but it was a job and it paid me. 2006, I injured my back. So there you have a little bit of suppression in my environment, and I injured my back pretty severely where I almost needed surgery, but luckily I didn't. It was a work injury. 2007, I was just recuperating, and then we lost our bandmate for my band. 2007, 2007. Also, my grandmother passed away. She was 96 years old, so God bless, and we were extremely fortunate to have her for that long. And she was a big part of my life. I mean, she raised me from when I was. She basically took over, from my mom when she was working, and she had Then she remarried, and I just stayed with grandma and grandpa. And 2008, 2009, my mom passed away kind of suddenly. 2010, I was unemployed, but I was working in films. I actually decided to start working. I started getting a lot of work in 2010. 2011, my daughter was born. We moved to Bayonne in 2012. Same year, my grandpa passed away at 95. God bless. Um, and 2013 was really when I started waking up a little bit about the whole trap that I had been in, since I got married, and this thing that I was trying to become or trying to be, which I was not. And that's when I started my journey where I am today, where I'm much more confident and applying the things that I was studying, because I stopped doing that for a while. Um, for whatever reason, suppression will make you do really dumb things. When you really don't feel that you are in your own element and that you're confident and you don't, and you feel you're being judged, it will make you do really, really dumb things. So you have to look at your environment, and 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 it comes back to the original point of this talk, which is faith versus certainty. You can have both. You can have faith that things are going to work. You could also be completely certain that it's going to work. And it's the only thing that really got me through all those moments of feeling like I was being judged. Not feeling, I was being judged. um and as soon as I, 2013, I broke away from certain things that made me uncomfortable. Any kind of judgment. I stopped trying to be liked, because I was like, listen, I don't care if you're not gonna. I married this woman. I'm not going anywhere right now. We have a daughter at the time. Now we have a son. Um, Whatever. You guys do your thing. Be happy in your own skins, and good luck. Um, and that's kind of how I treat everyone right now. If I'm getting somebody in my environment that's judging me or making me feel less than what I am, I really have a pretty good way of just walking away. I walk away. That's the only thing you can do. I don't communicate to them. I don't I don't get into any conversations with them. If they want something from me, I'm like, I'm not available. Um and that's just that. So having certainty in what you're doing is really the key element to being happy in your life, because when you're iffy, you have to have some solid foundation on something. You have to have a philosophy. Sometimes, it doesn't have to be religion. People will be like, I don't like religion, or I don't like organized religion. I'm spiritual, but I don't like organized religion. That's fine. I understand. I mean, religion comes prepared, right? Religion is not your own personal choosing. When you open, it doesn't give you those freedoms. I mean, you know religion doesn't. For me, my reality is that it's a spiritual thing and it's a personal thing, right? But you do have to have some methods of operating, some tools, tools like this and a bunch of other books and lectures that I have, tools to help you operate from someone who's researched and put something together that is workable. So if that's the Bible for you, if that's the Quran for you, if it's the Book of Mormon, whatever it is that actually works, it's a foundation and something that actually will make you do better in life. So why knock that tool, and why not dive into it and try to research and try to find something that actually works for you, right? Because you do need some type of foundation. It's very difficult to be out in the world and just floundering and just thinking that you're just in a flesh body, walking around without really any kind of direction, or just waking up and going to work and coming back home, and there's no foundation to something that's bigger than you. you know and that to me is and by bigger than you, I don't mean bigger than you, because nobody's bigger than us, right? We are powerful beings, but some direction to something of a research that you can find a better world, that you can find answers to questions that we've had, that you can be confident in the tools that you're applying to your life, that you can do better in life. That confidence comes from saying, you know what, I'm going to dive into something and I'm going to research this and I'm going to commit my life to applying these things. And that is really where the thing lies, right? There are a lot of people who go to church every Sunday and don't apply they leave church, and as soon as they leave, they don't apply what the pastor or the priest or the leader of the church is talking about. And that's a huge mistake, right? It's a huge mistake, because if you're in this faith, and that is part of it, that is part of the what has helped others. And that's why all these religions are continuing, right? Because they have helped people. When you have something that hasn't worked, eventually people will wake up and be like, you know what, that don't work. It's like communism and socialism, right? It doesn't work. There's no country that has made it work, right? I mean, there's no one fleeing to a socialist country, right? Nobody's fleeing to a communist country. They're not building walls around socialist countries, right? They're just not. So if you can visually, you can actually see that, then you would understand that that doesn't work, right? So same thing with everything else, look at something, see if it works. If it works, dive in. If it doesn't work, see what happened. Again, it takes the responsibility of you sitting down and looking into your life and finding out what it is that you're wanting to achieve. What are your goals? Write them down and then figure that out. And in order to do better, you need a good solid. What's a solid? You need a good solid foundation. Actually, that's what that is. It's a foundation, and it's a solid foundation. It's a solid. So anyway, you need a good solid foundation to build on, and that can become a philosophy, it can become a religion, it can be something that you truly, truly believe and that you have certainty on, like I do. Certainty that applying this will get you what you want, will get me what I want. And it has, from my wife to my kids to my careers to everything that I've been doing. And there's a lot more happening this year, that I'm really excited about. So all that has been a blessing for me, and that's because I have a certainty. I don't have faith; I have certainty. It's a little bit different, um, um, and that's where I am. All right, folks, I can keep going on this subject. Right, I'm almost at 30 minutes here. All right, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in again. The booklet here is The Way to Happiness. If you're interested, you can email me at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com. I'll flash that on the screen here. If you're listening on a podcast, it is John Henry Soto at protonmail, protonmail.com, Proton Mail. And put in the title, The Way to Happiness booklet, and I will mail one out to you free of charge. And yeah. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend out there. I'll have a really great weekend coming up. I'm actually going to be working on a film this weekend. I got cast in New York City, so I'm excited about that. I'll be there it's a 2-day shoot, so I'll be there for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, pretty much all day, and looking forward to that. So I will be back on Monday morning, and I will see you all then. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, peace.